Family is important to me anyway because where I come from in the South in Texas, that family is number one, almost like the mafia, nobody crosses the family. We fight and all that just like anybody else, me and my sisters, but at the end of the day, our love is just very strong and we're all into music. My sisters, me, my mom, my dad. And when we were little, my mother was like, do not put your fingerprints on the vinyl. You hold it like this. If you touch that and I see your fingerprint, obviously with hip hop now, it's she'd be like, what in the hell are you doing? But she's seen me, before she passed away, she's seen me do many shows and concerts and DJ, so she finally understood it. I didn't want to call it jazz rap because to me, jazz rap means you're rapping about jazz. You know what I'm saying? Like we did the jazz thing for Mo Better Blues for Spike Lee. We did jazz music for No More Mr. Nice Guy, where we were paying tribute to both of our grandfathers because they were both jazz musicians. My grandfather played trombone, and then Guru's grandfather, same thing, was involved in jazz with a band. So that's the reason why we were paying homage. But then the jazz samples, I think, made the media label it jazz rap. That's the reason why he ended up doing Jazzmatazz. He called it protecting Gang Starr from that stigma, like he called it reality rap. Jay-Z calls me Memory Man. He said, you remember everything. One day we were going to meet up with Jay-Z when he was working on the blueprint to play him a couple beats that I made for him. And Lupe Fiasco was there auditioning for Jay. Part of the time he was rapping, one of the tracks on the CD skipped. So it kept going. He's rapping, and when it started skipping, Lupe Fiasco started going, and we started messing with it, trying to see if we can get it to stop. So when we hit it and it went back to the beat, he's still going like that. And we all was like, wow. Fast forward, when Holy Grail came out, the album, he went on tour with Justin Timberlake, coming to Paris to do a gig, a DJ gig, but my gig is not until 2 a.m. We're driving to our hotel and we see the big poster, Jay-Z tonight at whatever arena y'all have in Paris. I was like, man, I'd like to go to that show and check Jay-Z before we do ours. We reach out to Jay-Z's management to see if we can go. They leave us all access passes. As soon as we go backstage, I'm hanging with Timberland, and then Jay-Z comes in. He tries to introduce himself to Keebler, and he goes, what memory you got for me today? I said, gotcha. That guy you just shook his hand, he was with me when I came to play beats for you with the blueprint. He goes, and the CD skipped. I said, exactly. He goes, wow. He said, see your memory, because again, I'm telling you already met him already, way back. So there's been a script that's been given to us by a good friend of Guru's sister. She presented it to me almost over 10 years ago, because it took almost 7 years to even get to the point of me even wanting to entertain it. The first thing I told her was, I know there's some unreleased vocals somewhere. We gotta figure out how to get them. Look what happens. Finally, to buy the vocals, and we were able to put out one of the best yet. And I'm glad that I stuck to we call it your gut. You gotta stick to your gut, because when you do that and you follow it, usually things turn out the way you want it to. We also want to work on a documentary, because we have so much footage that I have from way back in the beginning of our career. We even have the first performance we ever did. It's with Queen Latifah. She brought Moni Love on stage to do Ladies First. Ice-T was the headliner, and Tribe Called Quest's first show ever. So I have the footage to that. That's 1989. I think documentaries is quicker and easier because you get some interviews from people, put the footage in a nice edit, and it's us for real. So even Guru's son, KC, wants to do the same thing. He said, let's focus on the documentary first. Still could do a movie, but if it's time-wise to make it move faster, documentaries are much easier. Mo Better Blues soundtrack was on Columbia Records through CBS, and we were still on an independent label we had just got off of Wild Pitch, which was an independent label, so now we didn't have a label. We weren't signed to anyone. So when Spike Lee had us do a jazz thing and had Branford Marcellus be the director of putting the song together, the relationship went beyond the music to where we became the best of friends. And actually, we're here for this Amiri Fashion Week performance with me and my band, the Batter Band, are gonna perform. My original drummer, Lenny Reese, he wasn't available because he had another gig booked. Brady Watt gave me a list of other drummers that he thinks is dope. One of them happened to be Branford's drummer. I called Branford and said, "Hey man, is that drummer that you still with him?" He's like, "Yeah." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because we have a show in Paris and I need him for the gig." He said, "What's the date?" So that's on the day. He goes, "Nope, he's going with me." So then the drummer that we did get, his name is Grayson Recruitment. Brady said, "Yeah, check him out because he's the only one that lives in New York. So if he were able to get him, he could just drive to rehearsal." So I said, "All right." I said, "Send me some links." He said, "Here's one with him doing Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, the show."
6 minutes, 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh, you're on.
He's the one, just like that. Brady DMs him and says, "Hey, are you available to go to Paris on this day and do a gig?" He said, "Well, who is it with?" He said, "He's gonna call you." So I text him and I go, "Hey, it's DJ Premier." And he's like, he's 20 years old. Look, didn't I just talk? I just talked about him. I just talked about how you got in the group. I told him you're a kid. I told him you're a child. Yeah, man, it's a blessing to play with all these guys, and the most important part of it that makes it so great is everybody is really into their craft, and it shows when everybody plays.
For lack of better terms, like definitely boom bap. You got so much heavy influence on the East Coast sound, even though you're from Texas.
I'm from
right?
Texas, yeah.
Yeah, like when I hear his tracks, I know it's Primo.
The crazy thing is the word boom bap. When when KRS-One and I worked on that project, and that was what he wanted to call it. I remember the day when I got the call. At that time in 1992, we're like, KRS wants to talk to me, and he's like, "I want to do a project. It's going to be called Return of the Boom Bap." And now, fast forward, all these years later, people, you have trap, you have bounce music, and now you have the boom bap is considered a category of hip hop, and it's just crazy based off of him just titling it that album. People will call this style of boom bap, which prior to that they didn't. They just either called it like raw hip hop or New York hip hop, which does have a sound. And we never thought people were going to start labeling that sound as that word.
Yeah, I like the Charlie Parker reference, or Dizzy Gillespie, or Thelonious Monk. Just somebody who defined a sound and pioneered a sound that has transcended throughout all the phases of hip hop, that's still there, that's still relevant. Whereas Coltrane was stretching the boundaries into outer space, I think Preem really represents the foundations and the language of hip hop. So I think that's a great comparison that you made, for sure.
I think attitude-wise, he might be a little Charles Mingus.
Just based on my personal experience of the honor of playing with Preem, I would say it's kind of like my Art Blakey moment. Sorry.
To his point, absolutely Art Blakey and the jazz message.
Yes.
Because, Preem has decades of influence upon so many different crews and rappers.
Yep.
And the influence just spawns out like a web throughout the industry. And on top of that, he never left. So it's still, just like Blakey did up until the end, he kept on bringing in new cats and they go out and lead their stuff,
It gives them the opportunity to grow and get experiences and have opportunities that without somebody like Preem or Art Blakey or somebody you would never have.
I wanted to definitely do an album project. When we're just even warming up, we end up just doing all kinds of just crazy stuff, and it's fun. I know we could come up with a cool type of album. Maybe get some artists to sing on it and vocal stuff. But yeah, I'd like to definitely do that.
The moon and the planets are there, and new hopes for knowledge and peace are there, and there